everybody, it's Kim from Kim's Homestead here in Victoria to see you again, and today I'm out in the fernery and I'm going to be working on the waterfall in the fernery. Now I did get it going once before, but it wasn't very good, so I need to pull everything down and just redo, and this time hopefully make sure I get it done correctly, because I really would like to get this feature working properly again. It's a lovely feature, and it's an integral part of this fernery. So yeah, it needs a lot of work in here, and as you see from behind me, I haven't been able to get a lot of the weeding done as yet. Unfortunately, I've had a lot of trouble and just haven't been able to get out here. But now I'm feeling much better, and I'm feeling I can get out and do a few more things, which is great, because the weather is just beautiful today and I really would like to take advantage of it. Now in the pond I have 3 European carp. These are just testers for the water, and one poor little shrimp. I did have a whole heap of yabbies as well, but I think the yabbies have all crawled out and walked away. And anyway, I'll probably find them when I'm cleaning up the fernery, and I'll probably come across their little bodies somewhere, but they will be fertiliser for one plant or another. Anyway, so what I will do is reposition you and get stuck into this waterfall. Oh, what I'm also going to do is I'm putting in a filter in the waterfall. This is why it's taken me so long. This container here, I'm going to turn into my filter. This is just the bottom of one of those cut out blue drums, and around here it has a big hole that's been cut in it. I plan on putting a hose in there and gluing it in, and that will come back and reach out into the pond, and the filter from the pond, not the filter, the pump is going to be flowing into the top of this. It's going to have, the top layer is going to be sand, and the bottom layer is going to be charcoal, and I'll have a coconut coir mat in between the sand and the charcoal. Now as the water flows through the sand, it will be cleaned. Now it will be full of nitrogen and nitrates and fish poo and fish wee and all of that. And what that will do, I'm actually going to plant the top up with lettuce, so it will have a continuous supply of moisture and therefore grow my greens, my nice lettuce, and then the water will flow right through, be cleaned, and come out the pipe back into the pond as clean water. And yes, it won't be, it will be similar to a aquaponics, but of course it won't take out all the nitrates and nitrites out of the water. I think you need something a lot bigger to do that, but I suppose it depends on how full your pond is or what you fill it with. Now the pond here, if I put big fish in there, Mr. Barney Trouble, is just going to go fishing in it, which, you know, is fine, except I don't want all my fish disappearing. But that's why I've got the carp. It really doesn't matter if one or two of them go missing because they're just carp. They're only testers for the water anyway. But what I plan on putting in there is either zebradanios or even mosquito fish, really. Just something in there that he can have a look at, play with. Something small that's not going to be jumping out or eating everything else that's going to be in there. I think something small like a zebradanio would be nice, even mosquito fish. I would like to put guppies in there, but I don't think guppies would survive in here because the cold weather, it would get terribly cold, and I don't think they'd cope very well with that, being a more or less a temperate or tropical fish. But anyway, so zebradanios or even those rosy barbs, they should do quite well in here. So that's my filter for my fish pond. So we'll put that together and hopefully see how it goes. I think the hardest part is going to be trying to get a clear lacquer, a waterproof clear lacquer, to paint on the rocks so that the rocks are no longer porous, because I find after a few hours of pumping, all the rocks have sucked up all the moisture and it leaks out onto the other side, and the pond's nearly empty after a few hours working. So that's why it needs to be redone, sealed completely, and yeah, hopefully I'll have a nice water feature when I'm done. So in the meantime, it's time to get started and hopefully get it all done. We'll see. Well, as you can all agree, this little pond of mine is pretty darn gross at the moment. There's the old pump for the Waterfall. There's a lot of silt and gunk in there. So I tried using that, what's it called now? That over there, the little sucker that I mentioned on another video. And yeah, it's a little sucker. You get very little suction at all. It's totally useless, especially for something like this. So yeah, I'm going to have to just resort to bucketing it out and then trying to dry it out with old cloth or something like that, so that I can get in there and reseal it and fill up the gaps like that with a bit of concrete in underneath there, and I'd like to actually get a clear sealer so that I can paint over these rocks just in a matte. I don't want them shiny, but to stop them being so porous and sucking up all the water, because I'd really like to get this waterfall actually working again. So what happened to the yabbies and the fish? Well, this is my first attempt at a filter for it, and it was going really well until the whole lot fell holus bolus into the pond, so which created a hell of a mess. And me poor old fishies are in the bucket, and there's one poor old lonely shrimp. The yabbies, I've got no idea what happened to the yabbies. I know I found one in a corner somewhere, so they obviously all crawled out and went elsewhere. So I know these are only carp, but it's something for little Mr. Barney Trouble to look at, and he can't really hurt them too much because they're really hardy fish anyway. Not that he'd catch them, but if he does, well, he does. It's only old carp. But they'll be good testers for the water until I finish playing with it and it settles down, and then I can put some decent fish in there for Mr. Trouble to have a look at. But anyway, in the meantime, they'll create a bit of nitrogen in the water, because I plan on growing lettuce in the filter. So there's a new one for you. Anyway, so I'll put this up where you can see it, and we'll get on to it. Here is a close-up of what's inside the pond. Now, I've managed to take out a little bit of the water that's in there, but he will agree it's pretty darn gross. I seem to be missing one fish. Barnabas, what have you done with my fish? I can't see it around anywhere. So if it's jumped out, there we go, that's a bit clearer. It hasn't jumped out anywhere. Not that I can see. But I'm definitely missing one fish. I had 3 fish and a shrimp. Naughty Barnabas has been at it again. Well, I need to make a scoop because I can't reach down far enough to scoop out the water. So what I have is a old milk bottle that I've cut the bottom out of, some string, and my little poopy scoopy rake. So I'm going to tie this onto there and scoop it out one jug full at a time. It shouldn't take that long, but I will bring you back when I've got it all put together. Well, there it is. Bit rough and ready, but I've already tested it and it works. So let's see if I can do this one-handed. And into the bucket it goes. There we go. So I don't think you want to watch me scoop out all that horrible mess. So I'll come back when it's all done. It's all scooped out. Now all I have to do is wait until that dries so that I can sweep it all out, clean it all up and start again. Time for a broom and shovel and get rid of some of those spider webs to begin with, I think, and a few of the big spiders. I think this spot here would be a good spot to put a nice big pot with some sort of overspilling plant. I think that would look good right there. Maybe the terracotta pot that I've got. If you got any suggestions as to what I should put there or what I can put in the pot, leave the suggestions down in the comments box. That'd be good. I think in some of these nooks and crannies I can put maybe some of those the air bromeliads. I think that'd be nice in there too. Right. That should about do that for now. I've just got to wait for that small little bit to dry. In the meantime, I think I can get the sealant and start painting that. Get ready for the next step. Well, g'day everybody. It's been probably about a week and a half since I was last doing this pond with you. Since then I've actually been back to Bunnings and I've got some of this quick set watercrete. It's a multi-purpose patching cement. It sets up in 5 minutes underwater. It's safe for drinking water, so therefore it'll be safe for ponds. It stops flowing water and leaks. So what I'm going to do with this, it just mixes with water, is make little bits of dough, roll them out like a sausage, and then I'm going to squish them in underneath the lip of the pond here, so that hopefully it will stop the water flowing out in between. It's actually in between where the pond sits on top of the soil, and it's dug into the soil, to where the bricks sit on top. Obviously it wasn't sealed properly when the waterfall was made, and rather than pull the whole thing down and start again, I'm not doing that because the bricks would be way too heavy to start with. There's some pretty big boulders in there and there's no way I could do it. So this is what I'm going to do. Get lots of this putty and squish it in underneath, let it set, and hopefully with that and the sealant, I'm hoping it will be enough to seal the pond. And hopefully no more leaks, and I can have me waterfall up and running occasionally. That would be nice. Okay, so I've given the pond part a really good sweep out. I'm not going to wash it or anything like that, because then I'd have to start again and wait until it all dried out completely. So we'll go from here. It's had a good sweep, the best I can manage anyway. So what we'll do, I forgot to bring some water down with me. Oh well. I've got a container, yep, I've got a little container over there, so I'll just fill it up with water and come back. And I've got this little pot thing you put your pots on to stop it leaking everywhere, so that'll serve us as my bowl. And I meant to bring out some gloves too, so I'll go and get some water and some plastic gloves so that it doesn't bugger up my hands, and I'll get back to you shortly. Right, hopefully that will do. Well, so much for that. It's actually the next day, and I've done what I can down the bottom using that quick set, whatever it is. Wasn't very good. Didn't go anywhere near far enough, and I thought it would roll into like a putty type substance where I could roll it out and then just push it in underneath the shelf, but it was like wet sand, really. There's no way I could form it into like a dough roll or anything like that, so I just had to try and squish it in as best I could. It was very crumbly, and even when I wet it more, then it would turn to slop. So it really wasn't the right product, obviously, for the job. Obviously the salesperson didn't listen to what I wanted, and me not knowing these sort of things, I've got no idea what I'm purchasing, let alone asking for. But anyway, it is what it is, and it'll have to do because I can't afford to buy any more. So what I will do now is clean off the bricks. I'm sure they've got a bit of dust and dirt on them, and I will try sealing the bricks with this pond paint stuff. And are you going to help me, Barney? Hey? Is you going to help me? Or are you going to show me what to do? Nah, you're just going to get in the way. So, with the help of Barney, and maybe Patches if she makes an appearance, we'll get into it. Well, one thing's for good anyway. At least what I did manage to put in there is now very dry. Black. I wanted it clear. there's a will. Well, that's a bit disappointing. Whoops, I nearly ended up in there myself. I was hoping to get the whole thing finished today, so I was going to do the bottom dark anyway at some point, so it's done now. Yeah, I believed that what I picked up was a clear one so that I could paint the rocks and have the nice rock feature, but it's, as you can see, dark, which is very disappointing. So not only did I pick up the wrong putty to fill up the cracks and so forth, but I picked up the wrong sealant as well. Not a cheap exercise. I could have probably taken this back, but I would have been using it later on anyway in doing the bottom. Now it's done. I just did an extra thick layer. If this trolley doesn't stop misbehaving, I'm going to end up as part of the feature in the fish pond myself. Yeah, so it looks like I won't be getting finished today. It'll be another trip back to Bunnings for the clear lacquer or something similar. And then I suppose I can try and set up the pumps. I've got the filter to work on. I want to get that established before I put water into the pond. Unfortunately, the carp that I had have died. They didn't, the small pump must have been too small. One of the bigger ones jumped out and I found it went into the worm bin. We think Barney got one. And the other one just died. So the only thing I've got left is one poor little lone shrimp. He's been the toughest survivor out of the lot. I thought carp would definitely survive, but no. Anyway, yeah, so once it's up and running and Mr. Shrimp goes back in there, I'll go down to the pet shop and get a few little testers. Seeing as the bottom's all black now, maybe I'll get some gold rosy barbs. Something that you can actually see would be nice. And something that is fast enough to get away from Barney when he goes to chase it. He doesn't chase it too much. He only likes to sit in there and paddle. And basically he looks at them, but if he can take a swipe he will if they get too close. But that'll keep him amused. And the flowing water will keep the water from going stagnant. The little barbs will keep the mosquito larvae out of it. And then I can start working on the rest of this fernery. I've got somebody who's hopefully going to fix the door soon, and hopefully that'll try and stop the neighbourhood cats from trying to get into the yard, trying to get in to belt up my two cats. But anyway, hopefully that'll stop that, and the cats can come out peacefully at night time and play and do their busies and in peace without getting belted up. Alright, well, I'll bring you back again when I've got some more stuff, hopefully the right stuff this time, and hopefully we can finish the pond off, hey, and start on another project. Alright, thanks guys, I'll be back soon.